Looks like we are good to go. Yep, we are live, Michael K Unit.
Hey everyone, welcome to Good Reader Live, our end of the month show on YouTube Live exclusively. And you will actually hear the audio on this on our website in podcast form. So if you want to just listen to the audio edition, you can go to goodyreader.com and look at the Good Reader radio show, and we'll summarize what we talk about today. So today on the show, we're going to talk about a few new models from Hisense, both a new HIFI Music Player as well as a new like an ebook reader that's pocket friendly, and also we're going to talk about new e-readers from like a new color reader from Onyx Boox, and we're going to give you our thoughts and impressions on the new Big Me X6, which is probably one of the only high-spec readers out there with both a frontlit display and a color temperature screen, in addition to having the best hardware in its class, like outclassing even Onyx and with its Lumi 2.
Yes, indeed.
So where do you want to start?
Let's start with why everyone is freaking out in the world right now, and that is the Nova Air C. There was a little bit of discussion as to what was happening with the Nova 3 color. Not that it was discontinued, and not that it is. There was just some delays, some chatter online, and lo and behold, they just completely dropped out of the blue a Nova Air C dual promotional video campaign. We obviously talked to Onyx and said, hey, can we utilize these videos, and we had our YouTube production department put them up. Buzz was huge, really good engagement. It's a nice looking unit, and it is the latest possible technology of color e-ink, and it seems to be hitting all the right marks. And remember, we're still sitting at Onyx as being the only company with Google Play that is stable to any degree, basically.
Excellent. I just sent you a message. Yes. You want to look at. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff happening with like the e-reader supply chain right now, and it's creating delays with manufacturing and everything like that all over the place. So most there's a lot of e-readers out there that are sold out right now. They're traditionally always in stock. So yeah. I mean, even the big boys are having like supply chains like issues.
Yeah, just about everyone is having supply chain issues. What had happened is China had a coronavirus just surge, and it was to the point where literally all logistics in the entire country and Hong Kong stopped. Anything that wasn't essentials, like medical supplies, humanitarian stuff, like food, stopped for 6 days straight. So you can imagine the largest logistic export network on Earth stopping. So that means your phones, your shirts, your shoes, everything was stopped. And what that meant was literally everyone felt the issues with this, because DHL wasn't moving, and DHL is the absolute zenith of the pinnacle of shipping logistics. They will ship anywhere, DHL, and they weren't moving. And that put a lot of people freaking out, because when your stuff's not moving for 6 straight days, our stuff as well, all the incoming things, all of our inventory for all of our 5 locations, all the things we needed for review samples, there's some huge delays in the industry.
Yeah, it's not only that, it's one of the interesting things about us running our own store, both the Shopify store at goodyreaderstore.com and our main store at goodyreader.com/blog/shop, is that we have like 20 or 30 we're authorized dealers for these companies, and a
Yeah.
lot of the times, we place orders of like 50 units, 100 units, and so we're a little bit more privy to supply chain issues because we participate in it. We've always had like a passing interest in supply, restraints, EPD shortages, factories being closed, new initiatives and things like that. But we have a greater understanding of the e-reader supply chain conundrum, primarily because we are participants. So, when we
Yeah.
order 50 units from Onyx or 100 units from Big Me, and it's like they give us tracking, but DHL actually hasn't picked it up in like a week.
That's right.
So it's like,
Yeah.
as a customer, if you get tracking and it's like, oh, a label's been generated but nothing's been shipped yet, are these guys just slacking? Or no, it's primarily because of like the supply chain issues, like primarily because China is where all e-reader manufacturing is done. Like Kindle goes with Foxconn. Foxconn is based in China. Nook, Kobo, and all those brands, they're based in Taiwan, but a lot of the components that they use in e-reader assembly are made in China. And so if they can't
That's
get from
it.
China to Taiwan, then an e-reader can't be constructed properly. And for
Yeah.
e-readers that are developed, manufactured and then sold and then shipped from China, that situation is like even like more delicate. So yeah, when there's things going on, I mean, it's all because of COVID, basically a resurgence of COVID, and being like a totalitarian state. If they want to close down all subways, they can do it. If they want to close all
That's right.
buses, they can do it. If they want mandatory testing in order to even leave your apartment to go get groceries, you have to go get tested. So it's a
Yeah.
little bit different than in North America, where I don't feel like wearing a mask. It violates my human rights, and so you don't have to like
Right.
wear a mask unless you go into a place that is pretty well like a private business that's saying like, if you want to come in here, you have to wear a mask or prove your
Right.
vaccination. And some people are just that, this
A little
this
bit different
this
over there.
violates our constitutional rights. Like in Canada, like about a month ago, we had like a big thing that made all the news from all the places about truckers in Canada protesting, like in Ottawa, about wanting to impeach like the prime minister for doing vaccination, and like, to do, to have pharmacies do it and stuff. They're like, we shouldn't have to get vaccinated, or we shouldn't have to wear masks, and we should repeal all of this stuff because it violates our rights. And it's like, you don't even know rights. You know what I mean? Like, you've lived in a country that's like totally free and everything like that, and you don't know how the other side like lives, where every move that you make is like caught on like CCTV like cameras and social credits scores and stuff like that. If you hang around with like undesirable people, it's like your credit score goes down. It's a little bit delicate.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Definitely can
let's
mess your life up.
let's talk about e-readers. That's why we're all here. That's why Peter and I are on this show, and you, the lovely viewer or listener, is checking it out. So the first major announcement, we have to get into this right away. The Onyx Book Nova C, or the Onyx Book Nova Air Color. This is a brand new device. Our review unit is incoming, but we know about all the specs and everything like that right now. So why don't you tell the people about this?
No. Yeah, it's a really nice unit. It's also replacing. It has been confirmed finally that it is replacing the Nova 3 color. Yes. So there won't be any more need for the Nova 3 color. It is. They haven't officially announced it as discontinued, and a lot of these companies keep things around. Pocketbook kept the Aqua around, even though 60% of their lineup was all IPX8 certified, aka Aqua protected, but they still had the Aqua. So it might still have some stragglers as they get rid of old inventory, much like Boyu has done, much like Sony has done. Everyone does that. It's non-wasteful, so that's why that happens. But yeah, it's moving forward with that. It's supposed to have a bunch of new things that even I can't touch on yet because me and the people at the office haven't even done our review yet. there was actually a bunch of terminologies surrounding it. And actually, I'll tell you how it usually happens is we get a review sample, and there's like a little, here's one from Fujitsu, for example. So Quaderno sends us stuff like that, and they give us a little press package, and they say, this is what our device is all about. This is what the terminology means. This is what, e-ink Carta 1250, 1200 means. It's all that kind of stuff. So we go through the package, a little table read, and we're like, oh, yeah, okay, this is this. So there's some stuff. It's like, there was like one touch or on touch something or other.
On cell touch.
That one, yeah. So like, I can't talk on that right now because I don't know anything in a personal. Like we review things. We have it in our hands. We test it out. We're like, oh, that's what it does. We can talk about numbers and specs all day, but we haven't gotten our review sample yet because it came out 36 hours ago. This announcement, so it's not even technically. None of the packages are even moving yet. We haven't got like Mike said, we haven't got a review sample. Our Chicago location, our Vancouver location haven't got their. We usually get like a couple boxes of 30 or 60 units a pop just to make sure we're all kind of stocked up. Haven't really got anything yet, but it's looking super, super nice. It still exists around the $400 price point with Google Play, with color, with glow light, with Wacom. There's nothing it doesn't have. The only thing it's lacking as a general consensus in the community is a large screen, and that's why people were thinking for like a split second of watching the promo, the preview, was that, oh, it's the Air. Is it going to be 10.3? Oh, no, it's 7.8. So little bit of a letdown that it wasn't a 10.3, seeing as Linfini has 10.3 shells. Companies like Bigme released 1, 2, 3, 4 10.3-inch shells. So it's like there's not too much of an excuse right now not to release a 10.3 color. They've been around since December 2020. So we could see something, we don't know, but for now the Air color exists in its 7.8 form factor, but it's looking really mad.
Yeah, so if you guys want a sense of what this brings to the table, it's $419. It comes with a free sleeve case, and it has a screen protector installed at the factory. It's basically a 7.8-inch unit, Carta HD and Kaleido Plus. So it's a 300 ppi for the black and white display, and the color resolution is about 100 ppi. So it has amber LED lights, which is with the Nova 3 color, it didn't have amber LED lights. It only had a frontlit display. So now this has a color temperature system. So what is the main difference between this and the Nova 3 color? That's probably why everyone wants to know. So the Nova Air color has a 30% better contrast and 15% better color saturation, even with the lights off. So it's significantly better than the Nova 3 color. This also runs a higher version of Android, Google Android 11 versus Android 10, which is critical for supporting the latest generation of apps, but also security updates. It's also using a faster Snapdragon processor. This is using the 662, and I believe that the Nova 3 color had a 336 or something, a 636. So faster processor. Most of the other stuff is relatively the same in terms of versus the Nova 3 color. So there's a significant spec bump. But yeah, this isn't using new e-ink Kaleido technology. This is still using Kaleido Plus or Kaleido Plus. So it's not using any new type of color e-paper. What I really think that Onyx did is control some of the stuff on a software level, where Bigme sort of did the same thing. They sort of enhanced the color performance on the software level. So they were able to solve some of the limitations and things like that. So,
well, they did a little bit of hardware on their behalf, to speak on their behalf, because they are the only company to date to crack the 100 ppi sector into 127 ppi colors.
Yeah,
So
they did
no
that.
one,
They
no one
did
else has
that
been
with.
able to
They
do
did
that.
that with software. So they managed to do that with software, not hardware, because you can't really do too much with the color filter array, which is just basically like a sheet that covers like the e-ink display. It's nothing really like exciting, you know. Doing teardowns of like of Kaleido 1, it's just basically a film that's like on the screen, and that's responsible for like the color. So you can't really do anything like manufacturers and hardware vendors like Onyx. You can't do anything with that, but you can control it with software if like you have like a good engineering team or a programming team that basically understands it. And I know e-ink has written white papers on how this technology works, but they haven't released it to the public. They only do it for like OEMs or like bigger customers that have a track record of like releasing like new products and stuff like that. So you know, the jury's still out. Is this like a must buy? If you have a Nova 3 color, is it worth upgrading? If you have a first generation Kaleido 1 display, yeah, you want to upgrade to like Kaleido 2. But don't forget, there is like a new Kaleido technology that's like coming out, and we'll see products at the end of the year who are going to be doing things with it. I have a feeling it should be announced in May, so like 2 months from now, or yeah, something like that. Like in May, like sort of early May at SID Display Week. From what I'm told, that's when the new Kaleido like 3 or Kaleido Pro or whatever the naming convention is going to be. So that's the story with that.
E-ink doesn't even seem to have a handle on the naming, official trademarked naming. I remember when we went to a couple trade shows in Tokyo, they were like, this is Kaleido 2, this is 2.5, this is 3. And then they're like, okay, scrap all that, this is Kaleido Plus. And then it's like, okay, well, what do you want us to say here? Because we have to have, like, a lot of the times, this knowledge isn't generally known by everyone. So like we control the narrative as to what we need to tell people, and we want to tell people the right thing. So they're saying right now they've just scrapped all the prefixes, and it's just Kaleido suffixes, and it's Kaleido Plus. So that's officially what's going on right now. You can call it Kaleido 2, but 2.5 is just something like in the prototypes at trade shows. It didn't really ever kind of catch on. As Mike said, there's no difference in, you know, it's just software upgrades. There's no actual physical difference between this. So there's no, you know, massive difference between 2 and 2.5. But one of the things you have to know about e-readers is that generally 90% of e-reader manufacturers, you can't upgrade Android. We've seen it time and time and time again. You can't upgrade Android like you can on a smartphone. So that's why Onyx was kind of forced to release the Air 2 versus the Air 1, because that's the only way to get into a bigger version of Android. Boyu did it too. They were rocking, you know, 5, 6, and then they went up to 8.1, and then they went up to 9. Typically, you can't update your e-reader with Android.
It's a like convoluted, like the way that Onyx, like that Boyu did it, was that you have to first download like the firmware image. You need to install like a custom PC installer. It wasn't even available
just
from
right
Mac.
there what you're
you had to read like a 19-page FAQ just to do it, and if you didn't follow it exactly, you can brick your unit. So this is why like a lot of units don't, like, companies don't upgrade Android like over the air, because it's almost impossible with e-readers.
It's impossible. With a phone, it says, you know, hey, Android 11's ready. Do you want to install? Make sure you're connected to Wi-Fi. Don't turn your device off. With e-readers, it's easier to release the same thing and just put it out there. So the Air 1 and the Air 2 are the same. And then what they did was, you know what, since we're re-releasing it, let's include more storage. Let's include more this, include more that. So that's their opportunity to boost it out. So where a lot of you might see it as cheap and kind of shady that they're re-releasing something that has already been released, it's actually not as easy as you're making it out. And remember, even companies as big as Amazon and Kobo do this too. They just re-release things using the same shell, the same body with minimal upgrades. So it's an industry-wide thing. It's not just Onyx, and it's not just e-readers in general, but this Air C looks great, and yeah, we're excited to have it in our hands.
Yeah, I mean it's 7.8, so it's like not like a giant slab that you're afraid to take out. This would be like an easy thing to just throw in a sleeve and put in your bag or your purse or your like backpack, and like bring it out to like read at appointments or something like that. It's 400 is not really breaking the bank. It's not like iPad type of money or something like that. So yeah, I mean, easy on the eyes and color. It's sort of using the latest tech. So yeah, we're going to be reviewing it soon. So you'll get a sense on our unboxing and our full comprehensive review of it. So you'll on our YouTube channel, you'll be able to see that, and then we'll also do like a written review like on our website, so you can kind of, if you're more into linguistic prose, you can do that. So spinning a little bit in a different direction, is the Kobo Forma going to be discontinued? There is some things happening right now with the Forma that leads me to believe it will. So
it's also 3 years old, isn't it? 2019. 18. Jeez, there you go.
Yeah. So
yeah, the Oasis 2 was 17, Forma was 18, Oasis 3 re-release was 19.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
got it.
If like they're no longer marketing the Kobo Forma, Kobo has like an Amazon page where you can go to like their Amazon page, and they list the models that they sell, as well as some hyping factors. It's all sort of image based. It looks really good. You can tell Kobo put a lot of thought and effort into it. And but the Forma isn't listed there anymore. You have to actually manually search Amazon to even find a listing for it, and they only have the 8 gig model available, not the 32.
Oh, that's been slowly pulled out of a couple markets here and there over the past 12 months. Interesting.
When you visit the main Kobo website and you select apps and e-readers, no matter what country you're in, the Forma doesn't show up. It lists the Nia, the Claire HD, the Libra 2, Sage, and Ellipsa. They are not, there's no mention of the Forma. The Forma is actually, again, 32 gigs out of stock. You have to manually search for it on the Kobo website. There's actually a sale on it right now, which leads me to believe that they're just trying to get rid of however many models that they have left. So
someone just said, unfortunately, I got the Forma.
Yeah, it's
$40.
It's $40 off both in Canada and the US, but only on the Kobo website. What is interesting about the Forma is that Kobo relies on distribution partners. They sell things on their own website, but they want to go where the readers are, and they tend to sell their e-readers in bookstores. So the Forma is not even listed on Chapters Indigo anymore, the largest bookstore in Canada. Walmart is their official partner in the United States. The Forma e-reader is no longer available, or any of the accessories. FNAC, however you pronounce it, is their primary distributor in France. Also has the full Forma listed, but it's been sold out for at least 6 months. Booktopia, their official partner in Australia, has 0 listings for the Forma, and ditto with the accessories. So all of Kobo's major distribution partners in all of the major, G7 countries, you can't buy it anymore. And
that's true. Now that you say that, when we looked at it, actually on my coffee break, I looked at an electronics store, and they pulled the Forma as well. They had a Clara and a Nia on the little booth, and there was no more Forma there. Oh.
So what's the deal with the Forma? Like, why isn't it in stock? Why is Kobo no longer marketing it? Well, it's because basically the Sage has eclipsed it as the new premium e-reader. The Forma used to be, when it came out in 2018, it was the largest screen that Kobo made. It had features like Dropbox. It had an 8 gig and 13. They had an 8 gig and 32 gig variant. So people who wanted more storage for PDF files, or had a large ebook collection, or people that, had a lot of ebooks on Dropbox and they wanted to directly access that on an e-reader. The Forma at the time was the only way to sort of do that. But in 2021, Kobo, unveiled, first of all, the Ellipsa, their first 10.3-inch device. So if you want a large screen, you buy the Ellipsa. But the Sage, it has basically the same size screen as this Forma, but it has so much more going for it. For one, it's using the new Encarta 1200 display tech, which basically delivers a 20% increase in response time and about a 15% contrast ratio. In addition, smoother handwriting and animations display. There's a, it has a quad core processor, whereas the Forma only had a single core. The RAM on the Sage is better. The processor's better. Internal specs is better. So, obviously the Sage destroys the Forma. Not to mention audiobooks. The Sage has Bluetooth, so you could buy and read and listen to audiobooks right on the Sage. But the Forma didn't have Bluetooth. So there's no way that
also note-taking. You failed to mention that.
Yeah.
They have note-taking on the Sage, which they utilize their own pen, their own proprietary active capacitive pen, where you can take notes on it, and you obviously weren't able to do that on any Amazon, Kobo, or Barnes & Noble prior to the Ellipsa Sage generation. So it really is just, overclouding the purpose of a Forma anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Well, with the Sage, it doesn't come with a stylus. You have to buy that extra. So for people that want to do like note-taking, that want to annotate ebooks or PDF files, or just a freehand draw if they wanted to, you have to sort of like spend, I think it's like $49 or so, to buy the Kobo stylus or the Kobo pen, or however they're marketing it. I don't know, but you have to sort of spend that extra money, and you can buy it individually as well as the nib, replacement nibs. So you can generally find those on Kobo's website, but I've noticed on Kobo's retailers, they tend not to offer this Kobo stylus or the pen, like replacement nibs on their official things. Like you can't do that on Amazon. On the main Kobo website, you can, but I looked at Chapters Indigo and they had no listings for replacement nibs, for instance. So harder to get. And so know that if you want to get the Sage with the intention of getting a digital note-taking device, I'd stock up on nibs if you can find them, because they're hard to find.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you may be like, Mike, is Kobo just going to do the Forma too? I don't think so. I think they're going to kill it. They have too many SKUs in their portfolio right now. They have the Nia, Clara, Libra 2, Sage, Ellipsa. That's 5.
They don't need another one.
They don't need a 6th.
Just doesn't. They don't need a 6th, and they don't need something that is worse or is less performing than the Sage when the Sage exists. Because if you need something that's a little bit stepped down from the Sage, you have the Libra 2. If you need something bigger, you have the Ellipsa. If you just want to swipe all that away and go with an e-reader, you have the Clara. Oh, I want something even kind of lower. You have the Nia. There's no room for the Forma anymore. There's no place for it to sit.
Yeah, I think it was just a one and done. It was just at one time, it was their premium, most expensive device, and now it's been just replaced by the Sage. So, yeah, I have a feeling that Kobo's going to kill it. You got to think about from a retail perspective. If you want to stock up on Kobo units, would you rather invest in 5 or 6?
Right.
I'd rather buy in stock just 5 units. It just makes a lot more sense.
Right. Well, Kobo's still doing very well, and they still have a lot of stuff under their belts, so don't think of this as the end in any way. They're still very much Kings of their own in their own regard.
Okay, let's talk about Hisense. So
Yeah.
Hisense is a company that you may know that makes TVs and all sorts of consumer electronics. They're, you'd be hard pressed not to go in like a big box retailer like Best Buy or like Walmart or something like that, and not see some Hisense products. So Hisense makes e-ink devices, but they primarily make them and market them towards the Chinese market, which you may think, look, what do I care about a Chinese device? Well, they support multiple languages, including English. So, we have like distribution deal with Hisense, so we have them like on our site. So you can actually, buy, say, the Hisense Touch, which is the only e-ink based hi-fi music player, which
Yeah.
basically has speakers, a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. It's basically, if you want something that's like, 5.5 inch display that you can listen to all your FLACs or to your spatial audio
Yeah.
music with like Apple Music if you have that and you want to listen to spatial audio or like Dolby like audio, plug it into 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, and this device will last you battery charge a month. Whereas like if you have like an Android device or like an iOS type of device, good luck
Yeah.
with more than 2 or 3 days max of using it, and you'd be out of juice. Traditionally, you have to charge it every day. So, Hisense released a special edition of their Hisense Touch hi-fi music player. It's called the Hisense Touch Museum Edition, and
Yeah.
you actually did an unboxing of this.
Yeah, we had a packet in a, we have incoming mail to all of our locations. Primarily the samples are sent to our Japan office because that's where we conduct the reviews, and we had a big box from Hisense, so we're like, oh man, this is gonna be huge. What is this, like a 13.3? Because it was a huge box. It was like a gigantic, huge, decorative, ornate box. And we read up on, like I was saying, the little folder thing where they say, hey, Goody Reader, thanks for the continued support over the years, et cetera, et cetera. We'd like to present you with the Hisense Museum Edition. I was like, what the heck is this? It's crazy. And inside there was like a crane embossed, embroidered leather ledger with like an ornate gold-plated chain bookmark and a Hisense Touch card and like all this stuff, sticker packs. They teamed up with the Xi'an Museum, sorry pronunciation, in China, which is like a super highly accredited museum. It's the highest rank of their own internal ranking system, and it's really nice. The device itself is the same, but you get an all-new case, really high-quality case with like a suede insert. It's not going to scratch your unit.
So
Everything's laser
they're
cut.
seeing this like as you're talking right now. So
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm doing this. Yeah, it's in. Oh, you mean you're showing them a screen share?
yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's fantastic. It was a very nice kind of refresh. The device model is the exact same. It's the Hisense Touch, but it's like when you have a special edition or when they include a free case like the Pocketbook Touch HD3 Special Edition, the Onyx Boox Poke Special Edition. They do certain things. Onyx Boox changed, the color of the plastic shell. In this case, Hisense gave you all this stuff that is from the very famous museum over in mainland China. And the good thing is that it's all kind of just, it's not like, restricted to Chinese audience because the ledger is empty. You can write anything you want. There's Cornell notes, there's meeting notes, there's scheduling. The bookmark is just a bookmark. The stickers are just stickers. The case is beautiful. So it's open to everybody. It's a very nice it's a very nice set, and they wanted to actually release through us. So we're now selling it, and it probably, you know what, after 12 years of reviewing, I'm just going to say this is the best looking retail packaging we've ever seen. It was phenomenal. You can watch our unboxing. We're just like, this is some nice stuff, and it's only, I think, $20 or $30 more than the base model. It's really nice unit. Very surprised. And actually, Mike and his team launched the news that high smart reader, I think, is releasing, which is a 6.7, kind of akin to the A7CC.
Yes, so Hisense is going to be releasing, it's not out yet. It's called the Hi Reader, which is basically a form factor as a phone, but it's actually a 6.7-inch dedicated e-reader. So it's like a very impressive screen to body ratio. There's hardly any bezel on the sides or the top. There's a little bit of a bezel on the bottom, but that's just because some more all the internal components is. But yeah, it's like 84% screen to body ratio, 300 ppi, 36 like LED lights, so a frontlit display, a color temperature system, octa-core processor, 4 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs of internal storage, Android 10. So not sure if it's running 11. This is just like preliminary specs.
It could upon launch. We never know. It could change. Yeah.
It's going to retail for like a little over $300, but it's also running English and everything like that. So we're going to be getting a sample of this. But what the one thing I kind of dig about Hisense is that this is the first dedicated book reader that they've ever released, which is interesting because they've only really done smartphones which have an ebook reader app on it, but preliminary it was made just as like a smartphone and reading books as like a secondary function. And one of the things about buying sort of like a smartphone from Hisense, especially their latest generation, the A7CC and the A7, they support 5G, but they don't support 5G networks in every country with every carrier. It's only like in the UK, I think Verizon and Vodafone they don't support, but all the other ones they do. In Canada, I think they support all the major carriers here. But if you live in Iceland or if you live in South Africa or Egypt, United Arab Emirates, Singapore, your mileage may vary. So spending that much money for a Hisense phone where you may not even be able to take advantage of the 5G network, it's the long shot. Whereas with a Hisense ebook reader without the phone, which makes it even lighter, that's a compelling value proposition because it's like, it's much easier to carry like something like this. It's actually to be the same size as like the iPhone 12 Pro Max, basically like a 6.8-inch screen. So it'd be like the same size as this. But, with this is pocket friendly. You can throw this like easily anywhere that you want. It's portable. So if you want to carry around your dedicated phone to like, text and WhatsApp and to use WeChat and all the communication elements you'd use on a phone. But the one thing about your phone is that when you're reading it at night, you're basically staying up longer. You're going to sleep later. It's because of like the blue light from like devices like this, whereas with an E8 display, there's no blue light. So if you want to use this at night or to read like out in the bright outdoors, you're going to the beach, it's springtime like pretty well. So it's like people are spending more time outdoors now during light. If you're reading on your phone in direct light, good luck about basically not getting glare, whereas with an E8 display, it absorbs light. It doesn't reflect light. So that's one of the big things. So again, jury's still out, just like the Onyx book Nova Air C. We don't have a review sample yet. And this is a pre-order basically. So we haven't even listed it on our site yet because we don't know how much we don't know the prices, the official prices yet. We don't know what Hisense will do for, you have to buy 10 of these or 100 of these to get the dealer discount. So we'll know more in time. So once you're on our YouTube channel and you've seen unboxing of this, generally we'll have a product listing ready to go live.
That's right. We will be the first to tell you about all that.
E-Ink released some new tech called Gallery Plus.
Oh,
So E-Ink Gallery is something that most users will not have experience with their consumer electronics. You know, your E-Ink display is usually running Carta, anything made in like the last 5 or 6 years. Generally Carta HD, or the new gen that's running like a color display. So E-Ink has sort of been doing like digital signage for a number of years. You probably have noticed, like in your local grocery store, that in a lot of markets they're now using like E-Ink like tags for prices, because it's a lot easier to have like digital price tags where like you update the prices like on a computer. We're running a sale this week, it's $2.49, so rather than send like Bernard, the 16-year-old like stock boy to like manually change like 100 price tags, or to like,
dude, 100. You know how many price tags you have to pull the little plastic thing, take it out, go to your little fanny pack, and be like, oh, which one was it again? Is it 298 or 297? And do that prospectively tens of thousands of times through a superstore, Walmart, or like,
Costco.
Target. Jeez. I'm not saying technology is the answer for everything, but that it is. Just go to your store next time you're looking for pasta sauce, and just step back and look at how many price tags are in one aisle of one eye level, and then look below and above and down and up, and just think about that, and you'll see what we're talking about. Oh man.
Yeah, so they have new Gallery Plus, which is using their advanced color e-paper display. So